Welcome to the weekly shir. Again, it's starting Berashis of the Zera Shimshon. And I apologize for not doing this last week, but there was no time. I just was very, very busy. And we have to start again. So I hope I don't repeat myself, or maybe you forgot what I said in the first place. So that's even better. So I'm going to make this short and sweet and to the point. So it says, why the Torah begins with a base? Berashis bara Elohim Eis hashamayim ve'eis haaretz. Right? Why does it begin with a base and not with an aleph? So I've seen a number of tirutzim. They're very interesting. But here's what the Zera Shimshon Zecher Tzadik Yivracha would say. The Yalkut in Remez 2 explains that the Torah begins with the letter base because it is the first letter of the word for blessing, which is bracha. The Zera Shimshon raises the following question. In Tehillim it says, Rosh Davarcha Emes, your very first utterance is truth. Emes, it begins with an aleph. According to this, wouldn't it have made sense for the Torah to begin with the aleph, which is the first letter of the word truth? The word emes is alluded to in the final letters of the words Bara, Elohim, Eis. The last letters are aleph, mem, and saf. So we can read this pasuk as saying Berashis. In the beginning, the first thing was emes, the final three letters of the words, the first three words. The Torah is stressing the concept of truth from the very beginning. Even so, it would seem to have been more appropriate for the Torah to begin with the letter aleph, alluding to the word emes. Why did Hashem choose to start the Torah with the letter base for blessing? The Zera Shimshon answers the question with a midrash. Use honest weights. If you do, you will have the means to do business because you will be blessed. The opposite is true as well. It's a pasuk in Midrash and Vayikra Rabbah. From the words of the Midrash, it's clear that if a person lives his life with righteousness and truth, he will be blessed. If he chooses to do the opposite, chas v'shalom, he will experience the opposite. Keeping this in mind, we can understand why the Torah begins with the letter base. The base alludes to bracha, blessing. Blessings are not automatic. If a person wants to receive the blessings of Hashem, he must be honest. So the Torah stresses the importance of emes right away from the beginning. This is also emphasized with the Torah's usage of the word Berashis, the letters of which can be rearranged to form the word bias, rosh. Right? Two words. Rosh alludes to the words Rosh Davarcha Emes, and bias alludes to the letter base, which stands for bracha, which is a blessing. And may you all have blessings in your house forever. It is clear from the Torah's first words that truth and blessing are eternally intertwined, and that one who makes sure to speak the truth will undoubtedly merit blessing in his life. That's in the first very entry in Zera Shimshon once again. Okay, so the Zera Shimshon in the Segula says, the quote, I own a printing business in the middle of a busy commercial district. As anyone in the world of business knows, the world of commerce is completely different than it was 10 or even 20 or even 10 years ago. Today, with the advent of the internet, a businessman has to be constantly coming up with new ways to reach his clients and to make sure that they remain loyal to him, because there are a million firms out there in cyberspace just waiting to snatch your clientele at the first available opportunity. Though I had been doing well for a number of years, it wasn't long before other people began copying me and undercutting my prices. While it was true that the level of services that I provided was much higher quality, such things are difficult to prove. Bottom line, many of my clients were leaving my firm and switching over to my competitors. At one point, a friend of mine introduced me to the Sefer Zera Shimshon, and I decided to learn it, hoping that it would serve as a segula for Parnasa, as the Mechaber writes. I didn't waste my time, and I began learning the Sefer right away. After a few weeks passed, I was already feeling emotionally connected to the Zera Shimshon, and I decided that instead of just learning the Sefer, I was going to use my business to help the Mechaber in this world. I decided to begin printing the weekly Torah newsletter Niflois Shimshon. and I even took it upon myself to deliver copies to a bunch of shuls in the area, thereby helping many other people learn from the Zera Shimshon's Torah. The first time I printed the newsletter, I was filled with great excitement, as if we were breaking through a spiritual wall of some type and taking a giant stride forward. As I watched the printing machine sorting the Torah of the Zera Shimshon into neat piles, I was filled with tremendous satisfaction that I too was able to help the great tzaddik from the past to realize his desires. The next day was Erev Shabbos. It was a busy day, made even busier by the fact that I had undertaken to make all those deliveries. In the middle of the morning, a man entered the store. I never had seen him before. Introducing himself, he said that he wanted to place an order that needed to be ready the following Monday. Oh, I wasn't anticipating anything out of the ordinary, but the order that he placed was one of the largest I had in months. Surprise! It was such a large order that I had to come into the store on Sunday to make sure it would be ready on time. It had been a year since the last time my business had forced me to do that. And there was no question in my mind that this was connected to what I had undertaken to do for the Zera Shimshon. There was no other way to look at it. I didn't even know the man. We had no common acquaintances, and he didn't even live nearby. He had never heard of me and had no reason to give me such a lucrative account. As I went about the store that Sunday afternoon, I couldn't help picturing the stacks of Niflois Shimshon that had lain there a few days before, and realized the powerful impact that was going out of your way for the tzaddik could have. It didn't end there. Later that week, another complete stranger entered the store, placed another gigantic order with me, giving me another fresh account that I hadn't been expecting, and which I could not take any credit for. The least I could do was put two and two together and recognize that Chazal write, tzaddikim are greater after they pass away than when they are alive. And that, my friends, is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. May the truth reign, and you get all made brachas. Mit Hashem. I'll have another edition of the Zera Shimshon later on this week for Parshat Noach. Call to